Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a really interesting document. It's in Arabic, and it puts forward a very strong viewpoint on the Western Sahara situation and the Polisario Front.
That's right. And our plan is to really unpack what this document is arguing, get into the claims it's making and the reasoning behind them.
Exactly. It's always crucial to understand these different perspectives, especially with something as complex and long-running as this.
Absolutely. So, where do we start?
Okay, so the central thrust, the main argument, is pretty significant. It basically calls for the United Nations to um, completely withdraw its involvement in the Western Sahara issue.
Which is a big statement considering how long the UN has been involved, right?
Yeah, it's
Decades.
definitely. And the document tries to back this up. It talks about having dangerous pictures and SAE documents. That word SAE suggests they mean like confirmed or proven documents.
So they're positioning their evidence as
Yeah,
solid.
yeah.
Yeah. As factual proof for their stance.
Right, so let's look at the specifics they offer. One of the key things is about identification cards.
Ah, yes, the IDs.
It mentions IDs belonging to people from Tamanrasset in Algeria, also Malians, Mauritanians, people from south of the Sahara.
Who are apparently claiming to be Sahrawi.
Exactly. And the document's angle seems to be, look, these IDs prove they aren't Sahrawi. Their origin disqualifies them.
Which, immediately brings up questions about identity itself. How is it defined? Especially in a region with nomadic traditions and historical movement across borders. It's not always tied just to one spot on a map.
That's a really good point. The document seems to take a very fixed view based on these specific IDs.
It does. Then there's another specific point about someone named Sitne.
Right. C10, he supposedly set up something called Sinthai, the Martyrs Line, to defend the Sahrawis.
But the document claims he's actually Mauritanian. And again, they say they have an ID card to prove this specific origin.
So the implication there is what? That the movement has external roots or leadership that isn't genuinely Sahrawi, according to the document's perspective.
Precisely. It feeds into that larger narrative they're building, questioning the authenticity or the internal origins of the Sahrawi movement by pointing to individuals they claim are from elsewhere.
Okay, and then there's a pretty serious allegation leveled against Brahim Ghali.
Yeah, this one is quite direct. It alleges he used a forged passport under the name E.J.
And the document states this incident alone should be enough for the UN to see the whole situation as a farce, their word, and just stop its mission.
That's a very strong accusation aimed right at a key leader. It's presented as like the smoking gun that should make the UN reconsider everything. Undermining credibility seems key here.
Definitely. Now, moving beyond the individuals, the document also brings in geopolitical angles. It suggests there are vested interests,
Right. It points fingers at Israel and, interestingly, some European countries.
saying they actually benefit from the UN staying involved because it keeps Morocco sort of tied down or preoccupied with the Sahara issue.
Exactly. It frames the conflict not just as Morocco versus the Polisario, but as part of a wider international game where certain players might prefer the status quo because it serves their strategic interests, perhaps distracting Morocco.
So it's adding this layer of international intrigue, suggesting external forces are manipulating the situation.
Mm-hmm. And that leads into their final call to action, which is directed at Morocco.
Yeah, it urges Morocco to essentially wake up, to start speaking in a language the world understands, suggesting a need for a more assertive, maybe less UN-dependent approach.
It's a strong push for a change in Morocco's strategy, directly stemming from all these allegations and interpretations presented in the document.
Okay, so just to sort of wrap up the key points from this source, we have this document. It's highly critical of the Polisario and the UN's role.
Yeah. It uses claims about the origins of individuals involved, like the ID cards and the Jaman's example.
This serious forgery allegation against Brahim Ghali.
And this idea of external powers benefiting from the ongoing dispute, all to argue that the UN should pull out and Morocco should take a different, stronger stance.
It really paints a specific picture, doesn't it? Relying heavily on questioning the identity and legitimacy of key figures and the movement itself based on nationality or origin documents.
It absolutely does. The core arguments really hinge on that connection between documented place of origin and the right to claim Sahrawi identity alongside these geopolitical accusations.
So it leaves you thinking, when you consider all the complexities around identity, who belongs where, national claims, especially in disputes that have gone on for so long, What kind of weight do these specific documents or allegations actually carry? How much do they shape the bigger story, the narratives that influence policy and international opinion?
Hmm.
Something to definitely mull over.